What's going on YouTube? Rice94 here, bringing you another mini painting video. Now, in today's video, we are again taking a look at Army Painter speed paints. I've enjoyed these paints. We did the Skeleton Army. We did two of our one-shot characters, Adrastia and Captain Shack. Go check those videos out to see some work with the speed paints, not a lot. This video is why I got the speed paints. I want them for quick armies, and today we have a full Gnoll army. These are figures you've seen before in some of my earlier videos. Last year's November, I actually painted one version of each of these figures that we're going to tackle in the army. So we're going to use speed paints, see if we can make them better than what we did last November. So yeah, let's go over the figures that we will see here. Right, here is the first. This is just your typical Knoll Soldier. He's got a nice spear and shield, which I do remember that shield turning out really well on the original. Now we will be using certain colors, like I have my staples of Vallejo, Dead White, and Matte Black, as well as my 3 Reaper Browns that I go to a lot, plus washes. And my metallics, cause now I think on one of them, or two, what I did with the metallics, I did a light silver and then went over them with whatever color I wanted them to be in the speed paint, and that works really, really well. So you'll probably see a similar effect. Anyway, you'll probably see a similar effect. So yeah, this is our first guy. Then we have this one here, wielding the axe. His axe is a little warped, which is one of the reasons I didn't choose him in the original. Next we have the Gnoll Pack Lord, who I really do like, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, because he's got a lot of details. Not saying that the speed paints don't do detail well, because they really do. Just, I feel like the less color might be the best of speed paints, but I don't know, maybe this will prove me wrong. Then we have the Gnoll Flesh Gnaller, one of my highest viewed painting videos so far. So definitely go check that out, because people apparently like it. But probably the third or fourth most viewed is the other Noel Witherling video I did. So this is a Noel Witherling that I did try my hand at, I can't even think of what it's called right now, I'm blanking. I primed it, and then, you know, where you take the white primer over top, but my white primer kind of screwed it up. And it gave that effect on this side, which is alright, I guess. But I think that's going to actually make it look really cool when it comes to the actual speed painting. We'll see. So yeah. Again, we are using the Mega Paint set, which has a lot of colors in it, a lot of cool colors. Came with a free brush, which I'll probably use a decent amount to do the larger areas, and then I'll start using my actual brushes to do the fine print areas. But that is enough of me rambling on. Let's get to painting. first Knoll is done, and originally I was going to paint all of them, bring it back at the end. But I've decided to talk, at least in between these, just a little bit about what's going on. So this is the Flesh Gnoller, which is not what is next. I just realized. So let me get this guy up here. I accidentally had them out of order from what I wanted to paint them. Okay, so this is our next soldier. As you can see here, you can see I've got this one just kind of as an example of what we're going with. So here's our finish Knoll. He is actually still drying. The color is a little lighter than what I wanted, and I'm assuming that's because Gnolls are pre-primed with white. But now that I've already painted him, I don't want to go paint the other ones and just have one light and one or more dark. So, but going into the future, I will be priming them in gray before I use speed paints. I just think the gray color looks better than this. Also, the Sand Golem. This color and this color are not close, so I'm very upset actually about how dissimilar they are. But I kind of like it. I do kind of like it. Almost wish I would have went with this color for the wraps though, which that is the hardened leather, and then just found like a different color for the pants. But it's whatever. We're rolling with it. Also, for some reason, off cam, when I did the rusting, the eyes, the nose, and the toes to this guy, yeah, it just stopped recording, and I didn't catch it until I was done. So I'm like, well. But yeah, so I did go ahead and rust the shield and rusted the spear, and I did that with Fire Giant Orange that I pretty much just soaked completely off the brush, and then basically like a dry brush. And I think it turned out pretty well. So, that is my little interjection here. Probably do 2 more, talk about more that I'm learning with these speed paints, paint the final 2, and then bring it back here to show off the compare and contrast of each figure. So enough talk, let's get to painting. Alright, guys. We are 3 down, 2 to go. Just finished up the Pack Lord. It's drying. Let's see here. I already took the first one off its base, but... So, yeah. Just real quick update. So, here we have the first soldier. Got the rest of the sword, the axe, or halberd. I always get those confused. I think that might be considered a halberd. Oh, this is the new one. Duh. Yeah, so this is our second one. I will shadow wash this base. I'm going to do that at the end once they're all complete. Oh, here's the first one we did again. For some reason, his armor to me looks the best, and I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. It just does. Here is the Pack Lord. I rusted his axes. They are still drying. God, I love the way his armor turned out, but we'll go over that more. Oh, I added that off cam as well. I realized that this one had, you know, some green gems, so I'm like, oh, let's do purple. So yeah, so he got some nice purple gems. I'll take him back. So we are getting ready to start the Flesh Gnoller. Color-wise, I don't believe anything that you haven't seen before, except for this. And I may do what I did with that, or we may actually just paint it gold. I might just paint it gold on this one, just because I like gold. Ooh, I have some ideas of what I might do. We'll see. I'll do some tests. I was testing out the metallic colors on just, you know, a base I 3D printed, just to see how they were gonna look. But yeah, I think they turned out really well. So super excited to paint this guy up. And then we will move on to our Witherling. Couldn't think of the term for that. It's been a long night. Got a lot of painting done tonight. Super happy about it though. And not just these gnolls, I've also primed, printed. I've been at it. So here's the old gnoll. So it'll look very similar to that. I have a green picked out, this malignant green. I think that will be great for zombie flesh color. I know this green here, that was a fusion of colors, but I think I'll be fine. And then most of it's going to be the pallid bone, so it's definitely going to be darker bone-wise, because the pallid bone well, it'll be interesting to see how it looks on that. Because on the gray mini, here's what the pallid bone dry is like. Definitely looks skeleton-ish. I like it, but I think I prefer actual skeleton bone color a little more. I believe this has a brown wash over it, but so we will see on that one. But that is enough talk for now. Let's get to painting. Alright everybody, we are back. Now, first thing I just wanted in advance, I have been having some mic issues as of late. That's just now catching it, which is my bad. I should have been, testing before recordings, not just going. I have it temporarily fixed, so I'm still going to be a little quiet, but I'm able to boost that in post. You can hear the air conditioner over here. Apologies for that. You can see my cat behind me. No apologies for that. She's adorable. But yeah, so I do have, I believe it's because my room, position of my mic, air conditioner running, updates to software, a lot of stuff going on. So I have a new mic stand coming that allow the mic to be closer to me, so that way can be louder without actually, being louder. I can talk at a normal volume. So yeah, just apologies for that. I'll probably apologize in a couple other videos, just so people are aware that yes, there is a problem with my volume. So just turn your headphones up a little bit. And again, sorry. But that aside, the speed paint Gnoll army is done. I just got cat hair in my mouth. That's what happens when she's in here. And it turned out fantastic. I actually think it might have turned out better than the original. Speed paints are just a fantastic line of paints, in my opinion. So, here you have them. This is our newly speed painted Knoll Soldier, and this is our original Soldier. I tried to keep colors as close to original as possible. The only thing I changed was red and blue. So as you can see, like with the blue speed paint, like here, it kind of trickles down and highlights that. So I think that looks awesome. I got these, like basically the exact same rust effect using Fire Giant Orange as I did with Army Painter's Rust Effect, and I think it's easier to use that actually than Army Painter's Rust Effect, because Army Painter's Rust Effect is basically just a dry brush effect, as you can see. And yeah, I achieved dang near the exact same. I didn't go as heavy with that, but I could have, and I think I did on some other weapons that you'll see later on. The hair color that I used is actually Crusader skin, but I think it worked well for a dark mane. The gray was, I used the, I believe, Runic gray. Was it Runic? Because there's two grays I used. Yes, Runic gray, and that became the Gnoll's skin. It is a kind of a grayish blue, but I think it works really well with the Gnolls. The eyes ended up being the exact same color, which is the Fire Newt orange from Army Painter's D&D line. The one thing, and this, I think I talked about this in another video. Sand Golem. I have all these sitting here. I just don't know where they're at. Yes, Sand Golem. I don't know. It just always seems to be that yellowish color. So no matter how much I shake it up, it's just yellow. So that is meh. But I still think it actually looks good. It does look like a kind of more dirtier bandage than what they have over here. Yeah, so there's comparison 1. Let me get this guy off. I'm out of stands, so a couple of them are gonna have to share. And then here is the second Knoll Soldier, which is the one with the axe, side by side. Again, I think I like this one better. Mostly because the shoulders turned out way too metallic-y on this one, and I don't remember using a metallic black, but maybe I did? guess. Yeah, I don't remember using a metallic black. I think you can also see the necklace a lot better on this one compared to this one. The tools turned out a lot better. The natural highlights. Yeah, I'm a much bigger fan of this one than this one. I will say the rust on the axe does look better. I don't think I rusted this axe enough. Yeah, that axe looks better rusted. I don't know, I still like this one. I just really appreciate what speed paints do for me, personally. As someone who doesn't like to go back in and do the highlights. Because I don't paint for display. I paint for tabletop. And so the edge highlights and the shading and that stuff kind of doesn't really speak to me. But when speed paints kind of do that for me, I'll take it. You know, like, yeah. Okay, so next up we have the Gnoll Pack Lord. Oops. Ah. So here is the Gnoll Pack Lord, and this is one where I think the rusting I did a better job on the axes. The fur, I really appreciate how the fur came out on this one. Oh, I missed the belt buckle, I'm realizing. Huh. Oh well. Now this here is funny. So, a little bit of the blue from this, I don't know, decorative piece bled down into the skull, and it kind of gave that, like, greenish tint. But I kind of like it. It looks like the skull's kind of moldy, like they didn't remove all the flesh from it. Also, pallid bone, which we'll talk about more when we do the Witherling. Whew, that is a good bone color. I mean, just look at it on his actual bone helmet. Also, yeah, the armor. Light silver and any speed paint makes a fantastic looking metal. This figure did get some extra color with the purple. As you can see, I had some green little orbs, so I was like, oh, purple will look good with that blue. So I did that. You can see, and he's got his little bone things, some like claws of perhaps other gnolls he's killed. I really appreciate the runic gray on these because it really brings out the highlights, the muscles, whereas my original color didn't so well. But again, that's what speed paint's all about, is those free highlights. But I think I did a bang-up job on both. I still like both. Again, I think speed paint's the winner. What is up next? The Flesh Gnoller, which is one of my most popular videos from my early days. So, yeah, if you want to see me paint the original Flesh Gnoller, go check that out. Here he is compared to his fleshy brother, his speed paint flesh brother. Okay, two things on this figure that I like better than this. Two things on this figure that I like better than on this figure. The gold. I like this gold more because it looks like kind of tainted gold, whereas this looks like shiny, flashy gold that I don't feel like they would have. I tried my best to make that gold with speed paints. I think I painted them silver. Then I took, actually, Vallejo Yellow Game Ink, went over that, and then I took a brown speed paint over that, but I think I probably should have used a darker brown. And then the hand, which might be better to see if I turn the light off. Kind of that gross green color, which was a combination of some paints that I did, and I can't think of what it is. It should say in the Flesh and Honor video. And then I used the Malignant Green, which is a gross green. And then I hit it with a brown wash, which made it even grosser. But it made it a little too cartoony for my liking. Other than that, though, I love the Flesh and Honor figure. Honestly, one of my favorite figures. If not my... it's not my favorite from the line that I just did, but it is one of my favorite. I mean, the original is probably my favorite from the line. No, it's still not. Because yeah. Okay, I just like it, but the Witherling is my favorite in both. So, let me pop him down there. Pop the Witherling on. And there you are. Now, these are not the same model. They were in a 2-pack together. But, yeah. They almost look completely different. Now, the moldy green, so what I did there is I combined Camo Cloak and the Malignant Green to create more of a darker green. And then I hit it in just certain spots with, I think, the hardened leather. But what steals the show on this figure is the pallid bone. And just, yeah. Show him off. Compared to the skeleton bone, if I could take this one's green body and put it on that one, that would be the perfect figure for a Witherling for me. But we'll see. Maybe I'll do that one day if I buy some more Witherlings. 2 of them in my army seems to be good enough, though. So yeah, there you have it. I'll go back over each Gnoll here. Just a close-up on all of the speed-painted ones. So that's the first soldier. With the second soldier, which is probably honestly my least favorite, actually. And I think it's more so the design than the paint job. I'm just not a huge on that one's design. The Pack Lord, I love the Pack Lord. That's probably my 3rd favorite. It's probably Witherling, Flesh Gnoller, Pack Lord, Spear Gnoll, Axolotl. Excuse me, so sorry. Here you have the Flesh Gnoller, and as you can see, yeah, I made that a little too gold. I even think I went over it with a brown wash to try and darken it up, and I think the silver and that game ink is just too bright. Maybe I'll throw another wash on there. Maybe not. I really don't like to go back to minis after I'm done with them because I'll never fix them. I also noticed that I did 1 ear green and 1 ear skeleton bone, and then I was like, well, screw it. I mean, it's a abomination flesh monster. It can still have some green on its ear and some bone on the other. I don't care. It's not gonna make it any less gross. So yeah, there you have it, everybody. The Gnoll Army 2, not 4, Gnoll Army 2, done with the speed paints. Our first major dive into the speed paints. We've done a skeleton army, but they were pallid bone and dark wood, plus some speed paint, army painter silver. And then we did Adrastia and Shaq from our campaign in the speed paints, but they were just 2 figures. So this is really what I think Army Painter Speed Painter is about. Doing an army quickly. I mean, it took me about a week total, I believe, to do all 5 of these, and I think they look fantastic. Because, I mean, you think about it, these guys almost take me a week waiting on paint to dry, thinning paint, getting the right blah blah blah, you know how it is. But with speed paint, it's just kind of like squirt it in, slap it on. Love it. Does the recesses. I think you get a better look quicker. Now if I was to really take my time on a figure and add those highlights, I could probably, make a figure that looks close to this, if not better, but it's going to take me 10 times as long. And that's the advantage of these speed paints. So, if you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. YouTube tells me a lot of you aren't subscribed that watch, so do me a favor, do yourself a favor so that you can hit or see all these new videos when they come out. Like and subscribe. And until then, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.